Welcome into the Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond. I'm Namath Pitts. Happy Wednesday afternoon to East Alabama. We got the Calhoun County basketball tournament in full swing, and I'm going to leave here and go get highlights for tomorrow's show. But today we're talking the AHSAA State Girls Tournament. We're talking the AHSAA State Wrestling Final Four duels. You're going to hear from the head coach of the Weaver Bearcats, Andy Fulmer. The head coach of the Ranburne Bulldogs, Jason Meeder, is going to join us by Skype as we're going to break down both of those duels. We're going to talk with two Weaver Bearcat female wrestlers who are preparing for the state tournament as we preview the state tournament here for our East Alabama teams for wrestling, and we preview the Final Four for Class 1A through 4A in the state duels wrestling. So we want to welcome you in, remind you to like and follow East Alabama Now so that you don't miss the Locker Room. We're here every weekday, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Also, EAN News, which is about to become East Alabama Now. EAN News is going to merge with East Alabama Now and become one on East Alabama Now. But as of right now, still this week, EAN News is every night at 6:30 p.m. So make sure to go watch EAN News, but make sure you really like and follow this East Alabama Now page because that is where all the action is going to be taking place. Now, all the action for the AHSAA State Girls Wrestling Tournament was supposed to start today, but due to the weather was shifted back to tomorrow. Now, there's over 400 girls that are wrestling in the AHSAA State Girls Wrestling Tournament. Now, AHSAA Girls Wrestling is not quite sanctioned yet, so this is not technically sanctioned by the state of Alabama, but it's the State Girls Wrestling Tournament. That's what everyone knows it as. That's what it's called. It's being held at Thompson High School tomorrow, and then the placement matches, they're placing 1 through 8 in the state championship matches, will be at the Birmingham Crossplex on Friday. I will be at the Birmingham Crossplex Friday, and I am ready. Come on. I can't wait to be in Birmingham Friday covering my favorite sport, which is wrestling, as we are just a month away, guys, from the AHSAA State Sectionals and Wrestling Tournament, which will be in Birmingham, Montgomery, and then the state tournament in Huntsville. And I'm excited. This is my favorite time of the year when you figure out who's hitting their peak and wrestling their best. Well, there's a lot of Calhoun County female wrestlers that are prepared for the state tournament. Alexandria has got 9 wrestlers that are competing in the state tournament. Torin Barnes, Marley Morris, Tammy Phillips, Caitlin Robertson, Morgan Baskins, Maya Arcos, Gracie Owens, Emerald Hunter, and Shania Patrick. When I look at Alexandria, I would say their best chance at a placer would be at 120 with Tammy Phillips, who's an 8th grader. They've only got one sophomore, and then the rest of their girls are 9th and 8th graders. So a lot to be excited about if you're Coach Frank Hartzog and the Alexandria Valley Cubs. Now, staying in East Alabama, which is Calhoun and Cleburne counties, the next team that we're going to talk about is the Cleburne County Tigers. Now, the Cleburne County Tigers have 5 girls that are wrestling at the state tournament. It's Layla Poor, Bailey Curvin, Fallon Curvin, Katie Haynes, and it looks like they had a 100-pound weight class, but track wrestling's currently showing no name. But for me, 145, Fallon Curvin looks like the best chance for Cleburne County when it comes to someone placing at the state tournament. And then continuing on past Cleburne County for East Alabama teams, you have to go. We could look at Gadsden City. Gadsden City's got, right now, never mind. Gadsden City has 0 entered in the tournament. They popped up, but nothing there yet. And then continuing on, though, again, here at East Alabama, Piedmont has a couple wrestlers. Welborn has a couple wrestlers. Weaver has probably one of the strongest presence. Oxford has one wrestler, and it's Blessin Bell, who's been a really good wrestler for the Oxford Yellow Jackets. So Blessin Bell is going to be the one to keep an eye on for Coach Rusty Mayfield in the Oxford Yellow Jackets. And again, looking at just kind of the East Alabama teams is what we're talking about right here. Piedmont's going to have 10 girls they're taking to the state tournament. Alana Smart, Kaylee Smith, Katie Jones, Brindley Masters, Ansley Pope, Cinley Cosby, Nalani Robertson, Dakota Hughes, Bailey Hammett, and Annabelle Hilburn. And for Piedmont, there's a couple girls. I think Alana Smart could be really good for them and potentially place. I think Ansley Pope could be a potential placer. Nalani Robertson, Bailey Hammett has got, and then Annabelle Hilburn. So Piedmont, Coach Bragg's team's got a lot of girls that I would feel really confident in if I was Coach Bragg in terms of potentially wrestling at the Crossplex on Friday. That's Piedmont's team. Pleasant Valley doesn't have anyone. Sachs has 4 girls that are signed up to wrestle at the state tournament. They have Brittany Woodrow. They have Alondra Chavero, Gwen Hawking, and Isabella Escarino. And I think Alondra Chavero would be the best chance at a placement for the Sachs Wildcats. And then, of course, we get into the later side, which is where we kind of get down to Welborn and Weaver. Now, Welborn's got, Coach Ben Carroll's got 4 wrestlers, Macy Maxwell, Avery Duke, Bethany Fowler, and Mary Jane Perrin. I think Avery Duke is 14-2 on the season, as a freshman. And that's the one, if you're Coach Ben Carroll, you're really excited about, is to see what she's going to do and can she wrestle for a placement at the Crossplex. Of course, tough weight class with Lena Johansson in that same weight class, which takes us to Weaver. Weaver's got 10 female wrestlers: Ariel Sargent, Kinley Fulmer, Kyra Benson, Jaylee Carter, Allie Anderson, Mariah Johansson, Callie Mayfield, Lena Johansson, Jalen Medley, and Bailey Brown. If I'm Weaver, I feel really good about any of these. I feel good about Kinley Fulmer. I feel good about Ariel Sargent. Kyra Benson's been, pretty 50-50, but been good. Jaylee Carter, Allie Anderson's been really good for Weaver. Mariah Johansson, a future state champion. Callie Mayfield, Lena Johansson, 3-time state champion, looking to become a 4-time state champion. Jalen Medley, Bailey Brown, really stout team for the Weaver Bearcats. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out to Weaver, and we're going to talk with Kinley Fulmer and Lena Johansson of the Weaver Bearcats. So let's head out to Weaver, where I'm going to talk with those 2 female wrestlers. All right, guys, we're at Weaver High School, where we are talking with Lena Johansson and Kinley Fulmer of the Weaver Bearcats as they are preparing for the AHSAA State Girls Wrestling Tournament. Now, girls wrestling is not officially sanctioned quite yet, but this is still considered the state tournament by many. So, ladies, let's just go ahead and kind of get your early thoughts as you guys prepare to wrestle tomorrow at the state tournament. We'll start with you, Lena.
We're definitely really excited. I feel like all of our girls got really good seating and are in good positions to make a run in the state tournament. I think all of our girls are all solid wrestlers, and I'm looking for us to finish probably top 5, if not top 3.
All right, Kinley, kind of give us your early thoughts on kind of the state wrestling tournament.
I think that we're prepared, and we have one last practice today, so I think if everybody gives their all, that we're going to be the most prepared we can be, and everybody should go out and win matches.
All right, you ladies have been you've been really dominant in Calhoun County. There's not a question about that, taking the Calhoun County Championship. Had a wrestler in the finals of every match. You guys were county champions. But then across the statewide, the competition gets a little bit tougher. You guys have went, though, and wrestled like down at Enterprise. You've wrestled at Brookwood. So you guys have been wrestling the best of the best all season. Just talk about the competition statewide.
The competition every year is growing. Every year the girls are more competitive. We're getting more girls that wrestle off season and club, so that definitely makes a difference. And I'm glad that they're splitting it through 1 through 5A next year, because it's definitely 7A heavy, and 7A has a lot more advantages, not only with resources, but the amount of girls they can pull from.
All right, Kinley, kind of talk about the competition that you've wrestled statewide.
There's a lot of girls in each weight class that are super good, and they've all been clubbing. So with that, they have a lot of advantages on us, but there's each weight class has their own studs.
All right, Lena, you're a 3-time state champion, looking to make it 4 before your high school. You're a senior, right? So
I'm a junior.
Junior. Oh, little did I know. She got a whole nother year, girl, so she's going for 5. But you're going for 4 this year, and just kind of talk about the pressure. There's got to be a sense of pressure when you've won 3 times in a row, and you've been dominant all season long, but all it takes is 1 time, so you want to make sure you do what you do to bring home another state championship. Is there any pressure to you, and how do you handle that if there is?
There definitely is a lot of pressure there with expectations that I'm going to be dominant in the state tournament, and that definitely affects me pre-match. But in the beginning of every match, I have to run through the same principles in my head regardless of who my opponent is. I'm thankful to God for the opportunity to wrestle. I'm aggressive and relentless. I have no fear of losing or making mistakes, and I never quit. And those are really the principles that you can hold on to the entire match, no matter how that goes. And even if the outcome doesn't go how I want it to go, I'm still thankful to wrestle, and I'm going to go out there and give it my best. And whether I'm 0-2 or a 4-timer, I still am going to go out there and give my best and bring God all the glory to whatever the results are.
Oh, I love that. Kenley, for you, you are a senior, and wrestling just kind of happened for you last year, right? So this is your second year wrestling. But for you, what would it mean to be able to get a breakthrough and be a state champion?
Well, that would be unbelievable to me. I just really want to place. I have really small goals for the state tournament, so I would just like it if I place top 6.
Look, I believe in you. I think you can win it. All right. Lena, let's talk about the Johanssons. This is a team that is, or a name, I should say, in wrestling. Is there ever a conversation about who's a better wrestler, you or Joshua?
Oh, there definitely is. I feel like we wrestle the same, just I'm more violent with it, and he's more graceful. That's what I would say. Definitely we wrestle a lot more, me and my sister, and if she was my size, she'd probably beat me. So I'd say the more athletic sibling is my little sister, and the most technical sibling is my brother, and the most brutal is probably me.
But the best between you two, you and your brother. Now, you're going to have more state championships when it's said and done, so I would be my defense if I was you.
I would say me because I've wrestled on a higher level than he has, more like consistency with like Fargo and then a lot of like camps in other states.
All right, he's going to watch this and see this. All right, Kenley, last I checked, you're a county champ. Kel is not a county champ. I mean, so you got bragging rights in the Fulmer household. Who's a better wrestler, you or Kel?
Kale's meaner than I am, but sometimes if he brings it out, I'm mean. So it just depends. It's a toss-up sometimes.
Well, I will say she is probably one of the better softball pitchers in our area, so definitely some aggressiveness there. Just talk about what it's meant to get to wrestle under your dad. I mean, you go home with Dad. He's coached during practice. Just talk about how special it's been to get to wrestle for him the past 2 years.
Well, it's been a different experience than softball, but it's the same intensity in softball. And I go home with the coach, so I hear all the thoughts that he has about each team and what there is to bring to the table. So it's just been a different experience that I can't imagine.
All right, Kenley, you said your goal is to place. Lena, obviously your goal is to win a state championship. Just talk about your wrestling in Thompson tomorrow, but talk about what it would mean to get to wrestle at the Crossplex on Friday.
It's a different experience. Let me tell you, wrestling on a platform is a lot different than a mat because it feels like all eyes are on you. Enterprise had a similar feel where it was just a spotlight, but actually I prefer wrestling on a platform because it's like nothing around you. You can't hear anyone, you can't see anyone, it's just you and your opponent. Honestly, I can't even hear my coaches in that type of scenario. So you're more locked in, I feel like, when I'm wrestling on the stage. And also I feel like everything moves slower. Like I feel like there's more time to process. But the goal is to get most of our girls wrestling on Friday for placement. That's the goal.
All right, Coach Fulmer, you heard her. She doesn't even really listen to you during the matches. But all right, Kenley, just talk about what it would mean to get to wrestle at the Crossplex on Friday.
It would be very shocking for me, honestly, because it's just such a different experience, and they make it so much bigger than Thursdays. So I don't know. My nerves would probably get the best of me.
All right, we got to get some confidence. We got to work on confidence over here.
I am, but I'm trying not to be too confident.
I would say that something like that really helps is like before I wrestle on the stage or just in general at the Crossplex, I like walking through the mat, like all the parts of the mat, so I can get like acquainted with it and get a better idea of how it feels, what the environment looks like from up there on the ground or wherever it is at the Crossplex.
We can't all be Lena Johansson. She's over here with all her tricks. All right, last question, guys. Just talk about the other girls in Calhoun County that are going to be competing at the tournament. Just kind of talk about, I know Weaver's the more seasoned team when it comes to female wrestling. Just kind of talk about your encouragement to the other ladies in Calhoun County.
They definitely are prepared. It's an amazing opportunity to wrestle at the state tournament, and I'm thankful to their coaches for allowing them and traveling with them there. I think that we have a lot of really good girls out of Calhoun County. I think there's actually one of the girls in Wellborn is 4th seed in my bracket, and Piedmont and Alexandria, they both have very diverse and widely spread talent on their team, and I'm definitely looking forward to the girls from Oxford. They have 2 really good girls, and just all across the county, I think wrestling each other all the time definitely makes us better wrestlers.
Kenley, you compete with them all the time. Just kind of talk about the competition for Calhoun County, kind of what you're excited to see for the other ladies in the area.
I'm really excited to see Alexandria and Piedmont's girls see the opportunity that state brings them, and there's one Alexandria girl that's going to be so good if she sticks with it, and I really want her to stay with it because she could be so good. So I hope that she sees this and knows that we're encouraging her.
All right, guys, we are going to take a break. When it comes to these two, though, hopefully you'll see them more on Monday. Hopefully we'll have some post-match interviews after these ladies get the job done at the Crossplex on Friday. But don't go away. When we come back, we're going to look at the boys' duels between St. John Paul II, and we're going to talk with the head coach of the Weaver Bearcats, Andy Fulmer. Don't go away. You're watching The Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond.
Ted's Floors and Beyond is excited to introduce our all-new outdoor living collection. Have you ever dreamed of elevating or even creating an outdoor living space, whether it be for grilling, lounging, playing, entertaining, or just winding down? Our quality tile and stone, combined with our expert craftsmanship, will no doubt create unforgettable outdoor moments with family and friends, while also enhancing the beauty and value of your home. Call us today.
Ted's Floors and Beyond brings you The Locker Room each and every day. Ted's Floors and Beyond has all your flooring needs, whether it's hardwood, laminate, carpet, tile, luxury vinyl. They have it for you right there at Ted's. You can go by their showroom there in Anniston and you can pick out what you like, want, and need, and they can do that there at Ted's. Also, they've got their partnership with Ranburne Cabinet and will offer you a complete kitchen or bath makeover. That includes cabinets, countertops, flooring, backsplashes, tile showers. They can get it done there at Ted's Floors and Beyond. And now they offer you work on your outdoor space, whether it's an outdoor kitchen, patio, or living space. They have specially made outdoor tiles and stones that can enhance your outdoor experience. Go by and see them today at their showroom in Anniston on Highway 431, right before you get to Sachs Elementary School, or visit them online at shopteds.com. That is shopteds.com. Ted's Floors and Beyond brings you The Locker Room. We continue on East Alabama on this Wednesday afternoon. A little chilly outside. I could actually go for some chili right now. But we are talking AHSAA wrestling. You heard from Lena Johansson and Kenley Fulmer before the break. Now we shift to the AHSAA Duels Final Four for Class 1A through 4A. We're going to talk with Andy Fulmer of the Weaver Bearcats. This segment, we're going to talk with Jason Meeder of the Ranburne Bulldogs the next segment. But as of right now, we're going to go ahead and preview the Weaver versus St. John Paul II duel. Now, for Weaver to get here, they had to go through Dora and Corner, which they dominated both duels. They beat Corner 51-18. For St. John Paul II, they had to go through New Hope, which was tough, and then they had to go through Wilson, the second duel, and Wilson was the first team from Lauderdale County to ever make it to this deep in the tournament. But St. John Paul got past Wilson 51-30. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. St. John Paul is really good. They've got some really good wrestlers. But I personally think that Weaver is better top to bottom. And I think that's what makes this team so good. But let's take a look at it. At 108, at 108, Luke Santee, certainly a good wrestler for St. John Paul II. But Kel Fulmer is much better for Weaver. Kel Fulmer is one of the top 108s. So I'm going Kel Fulmer by pin at 108. At 115, St. John Paul II has Benjamin Santee, who is one of their better wrestlers. For Weaver, they have Peyton Andrews. Santee's probably the winner of this match, but could it be a decision? I certainly think so. Peyton Andrews had a big win over Jacob Bagala of Corner, so this one could go either way. I'd keep an eye on it, but I like Santee. But again, what makes Weaver so good is they don't give up pins. They give up decisions. At 122, St. John Paul II has Xavier Escarpizo. For Weaver, they have Hayden Heiss. Hayden Heiss just beat this same wrestler a week ago at Cleveland County, so I'm going with Hayden Heiss for Weaver. At 128, you have Dalton Fink. For Weaver, St. John Paul II has Mateo Jimenez, and I'm going to go with Fink. At 134, St. John Paul II has Andy I'm going to say this name wrong. I can't even pronounce it. But Andy is 134 for St. John Paul II. And for Weaver, their 134 is Gabriel Snyder. Again, probably lean John Paul, but I don't know that it's a pin. It's probably a decision. 140 for Weaver is Dylan Brown. 140 for St. John Paul is Julian Lau. This one could go either way. I'm leaning Lau, but again, leaning Lau by decision, not pin. 146, Gabe Merdzek for Weaver. Their 146 is Gianluca Torres. I'm going with Torres. At 52, I'm going with Jack Von Eschenbach over to Sean Kirby Barnes. At 159, Caden Thornton against, they wrestled Von Eschenbach at 59 last time. If Von Eschenbach's 52, he wins. If he's at 59, he wins. If they go Jacob Swetzer at 52, then I'm going Kirby Barnes. Either way, if it's Eschenbach at 52, I'm going Eschenbach, and then I'm going at 59, I'm going Weaver. If it's Von Eschenbach at 59, then I'm going Kirby Barnes at 52, which either way takes us to 67, which was Jason Buccio, and then it's Thornton for Weaver. I'm going Thornton. You got Christian, same last name I couldn't pronounce, Mariko, not even close. Either way, I'm going Thornton. 192, Brennan Bowling for Weaver at 192. They have Weaver's 192. Is Zachary Hooks. I'm going Zachary Hooks. 217's Brandon Jolliffe. I'm going Jolliffe over Logan Roth. And then 287, it was a forfeit for St. John Paul, so I would go with Weaver. So I'm going to go Weaver over St. John Paul II. Of course, St. John Paul's got some really good wrestlers, but I think Weaver's better top to bottom. I think we're going to see Weaver in the Final Four of the AHSAA Duels Championship. So let's talk with Andy Fulmer of the Weaver Bearcats. Let's go out to Weaver right now. All right, guys, we are talking with the head coach of the Weaver Bearcats, Coach Andy Fulmer. Coach, I just got done kind of sizing up this duel between you and St. John Paul II, but just kind of give us your early thoughts on this duel.
Look for it to be very competitive. They've got some really good kids. They put in a lot of off-season work. And so it should be, we've wrestled them multiple times in tournaments, but never in a duel. So we're excited to see how we match up in certain areas, and hopefully we wrestle like we did this past Saturday in our prelims and quarters, and we advance to that next round. But it should be a very competitive duel because Coach Dow does a really good job with the JP2 kids. So we're excited to be there, and we're excited to have a chance to wrestle those guys because I know they do a really good job.
Coach, I felt like looking at the bracket from the beginning, I felt like your toughest, this is no knock to St. John Paul II, because I think they're going to be tough as St. James or Ranburne would be if you could get past them or wrestle the other one for third place. But I felt like Dora and Corner was probably arguably two of the toughest matchups in the first round for any team in the duels bracket. And you guys didn't just win those duels, Coach, you dominated those duels. You won like 6 of the first 7 matches against Dora, beat Corner pretty convincingly. Just talk about the chip on your team's shoulder. The way they wrestled Saturday was a different level than they've wrestled all season duel-wise.
I'm gonna be honest with you. We tried to make it fun for our kids because I think I have failed in the past as a coach as far as putting too much pressure on our kids and the stakes of being in the state duels. And we kind of had like, I wouldn't say laid back, but more of a relaxed practice atmosphere last week. A couple of days we got out, we only practiced for an hour and a half. And then I think maybe once or twice we went right at close to 2 hours. But we just tried to focus less on the duels aspect of it and just focus on having fun and competing like we've done all year. And we went out and we wrestled really well. We started off really good in our lower weights and finished really strong in our upper weights. All the kids competed really well. We're very young as far as, when you look at our lineup. We've got a lot of junior high kids that are having to wrestle, but they're junior high kids that's got a ton of experience. So they hate to lose more than they like to win, and they don't want to disappoint Coach Brown or myself. So I feel like they didn't want to have all this, all the build up and then go out in the first round because, Dora put us out last year in the first round, and we felt good. If we could get through Dora, I liked how we matched up with Corner. They've got great kids. Coach Edwards does a great job with their program as well. But I just felt like if we could get through the first round, I felt like we could build some momentum, especially here at home. And our kids they just wrestle their guts out. They wrestle with such heart, such grit. They love one another. They compete for one another. I mean, they beat up on each other in the room, but then they go out and it's just a family atmosphere when we're on the mat. So we're really excited with the results. So we hope that it continues to build into the semifinal round and hopefully the finals round on Friday.
Coach, this is a team that's won back-to-back individual championships in terms of a team. You were runner-up the year before, but you guys have not really made that run in terms of the duels. This is kind of the first year that you've kind of broke through where you're right here at the Crossplex now. Obviously, you talked about kind of the pressure and being kind of more laid back last week, but what is it about this team, this young team? What makes them different from the past couple seasons where you guys are right here with an opportunity to add what would be a third state championship in 3 years and have an opportunity to make it 4 in just a month?
I really believe this team is probably the most and it's not anything negative toward any team I've ever coached because we've had some really good teams. I really feel like this team may be one of the most solid teams we've had from top to bottom. So, we start off in the lineup with several eighth graders, like 5 or 6 eighth graders out of the first 7 weight classes, but those guys just go out and they just compete and they hate losing. They don't like losing to each other in practice. And then we get, we build toward the middle of our lineup. We got some more experience, and we got, some experience, some older kids, and some junior high age kids toward the end as well. So I don't feel like we have like that this year. I don't feel like we have, for the first time in a really long time, we don't have a Souter, we don't have an Anderson, we don't have a JD or a kid like that. We don't have like what I guess everybody would consider like one stud wrestler. We've just got a bunch of solid kids that they go out and compete, and they understand that like if they can't win, I've got to go 6 minutes and keep this to a decision or keep this to a major or whatever the case may be. They understand their purpose. They understand the responsibility that's on them no matter what age group. And like when we roll out Friday, we're going to have 1 senior in the lineup in our 14 weight classes. So this group is fun to watch. They can be frustrating at times. But they're a lot of fun to coach. They're a lot of fun to watch, and I feel like they just don't want to disappoint the teams that's been in the past. I feel like we've got all these really good wrestlers that's come through, and all the hype and everything. They don't want to be the team that like lets those guys down. They don't want to let the Nick Souter and the Cody Souters and the J.D. Johansson and Devin Anderson. They don't want to let those kids down. So I'm just really excited to see what we do on Friday. This weather has made things a little more frustrating, and I've been a little anxious about it because you can't control it. But our kids, the days that we've been able to work, we've been in here, they're busting their tails, they're getting after it, doing everything we ask them to. So we're ready for Friday to be here and just go out on the mat and just do what we've been doing all year, and that's just have fun and compete at a high level. That's what we've been preaching to them all year.
Coach, all focus is on Jack Von Eschenbach, on Benjamin Santee and the St. John Paul II team, but whether you win or lose, you're going to wrestle again. So even if you were to fall, you'd wrestle again for 3rd or 4th. If you win, you're wrestling for a state duels championship. Obviously, you're focused on St. John Paul II, but either way, you're going to wrestle a Ranburne or a St. James after that. Kind of talk about those teams real quick, if you don't mind, and just kind of what you feel like you could expect from those two teams as well, because I feel like Ranburne is kind of that team that a lot of people didn't expect to be here. They've got the experience. They've done it before, but they had Oak Grove, who was wrestling really well, and they beat them, and then they beat Heflin. They beat Cleveland County in that rematch. St. James just quietly does what they do every year. They just quietly get right there, going to be solid. Just kind of looking at those two teams, just kind of talk about those two and kind of what you would expect from them.
Both Coach Meeder and Coach Corley do a great job for their programs, and I think they do a really good job of getting their kids up for the moment. And Ranburne, this is the 3rd time I think within like a week and a half period that they've wrestled Heflin. So that duel is going to be tough anyways, because the more you wrestle somebody, the more they pick up on patterns, and it's harder to beat somebody the more you wrestle them. So I knew that was going to be a competitive duel. And then St. James, I think they're getting everybody back, getting where they need to be weight-wise. Both of those guys do a really good job of motivating their kids, and they do a good job getting them where they need to be to where they can compete. So I really think these 4 teams that are going to be wrestling Friday are they've earned the honor, they deserve the honor, and I'm excited that we're one of the Final Four. So we'll just see what happens. But those other three coaches do a really good job of coaching their kids up and basically getting everything they can out of them as far as the effort and the results and things. So we're excited about it.
All right, the AHSAA Class 1A through 4A State Duels Final Four kicks off Friday at the Crossplex. I will be there to get all the action covering Weaver and Ranburne, our East Alabama teams. But do not go away, because when we come back, we're back in studio. Joining us by Skype will be Coach Jason Meeder of the Ranburne Bulldogs, and we are going to preview the Ranburne and St. James duel. So do not go away. You're watching The Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond.
Ted's Floors and Beyond is excited to introduce our all-new outdoor living collection. Have you ever dreamed of elevating or even creating an outdoor living space, whether it be for grilling, lounging, playing, entertaining, or just winding down? Our quality tile and stone, combined with our expert craftsmanship, will no doubt create unforgettable outdoor moments with family and friends, while also enhancing the beauty and value of your home. Call us today.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today. For over 60 years, Oxford Lumber has been servicing our area, and our customer service has always been our main focus. Our customer service is what sets us apart from anyone else. From the moment you enter, our highly trained staff will treat you like family.
To enthusiastically provide total customer satisfaction within a positive and self-fulfilling employee relations environment. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or at oxfordlumber.com.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
Welcome back into the Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond. I'm Namath Pitts as we continue our coverage of talking about the AHSAA State Duels Final Four that's taking place Friday at the Birmingham Crossplex. It features 2 East Alabama teams, the Weaver Bearcats and the Ranburne Bulldogs. Now, in the last segment, you heard us break down the duel between Weaver and St. John Paul II. You heard from Coach Andy Fulmer of the Weaver Bearcats. Now we're going to turn our attention to the other side, which features the Ranburne Bulldogs, Coach Jason Meeder's team, going head-to-head against the St. James Trojans. We have a little bit of a private schools versus public schools, and that's what we got right here with Ranburne and Weaver against St. James and St. John Paul II. But before we talk with Coach Meeder and get his thoughts on St. James and talking about the Final Four, I want to kind of break this down myself and analyze it. Now, I was completely wrong about Ranburne, and it wasn't that I didn't believe in Ranburne. It's not that I didn't think they had the talent. It's that Oak Grove was wrestling arguably their best wrestling at the time of the duel against Ranburne, and Cleburne County had just gotten the head-to-head against Ranburne. But that did not matter, because Coach Jason Meeder's team not only went into Oak Grove and beat Oak Grove in the prelims, they then go on in the quarterfinals and they beat Cleburne County 39-33. And I got to tell you, it was the finishing touch was Curtis Daniels' pin over Harrison Roberts. Colton Mayfield and Austin Mayfield got it into a 3-point duel. But I knew that when Curtis Daniel took the mat, you had to feel good if you were Ranburne. Now for St. James, the way St. James got here was they wrestled Montgomery Catholic and defeated them in dominant fashion, 45-18. Now, when I look at these two teams, These are based upon their last duel. Now, we know Ranburne's just going to come right at you with what they have. Now, whether St. James moves people around or what they do, depending on weight classes, I don't know. Because Noah Raines could wrestle 108. He could wrestle 115. But as of their duel against Montgomery Catholic, they put out at 108 Ty Roundtree. And for Ranburne at 108, they put out Carter Driver. My pick would be Carter Driver in that match. I would feel better about Carter Driver personally if I was choosing between the two. At 115, Ranburne put out Hunter Hulsey. St. James put out Noah Raines. Now, I think this is a decision match. I don't think it's a pin. I think it's a decision match, but I think I would maybe lean Raines right now. But Hunter Hulsey is certainly a guy that could flip points right there for Ranburne. At 120, St. James had Andrew Shalata. I may have pronounced that name wrong. And for Ranburne, they had Jackson Ralston. I would like Jackson Ralston in that matchup personally. At 128, Ranburne had Johnny Mack English. For St. James, at 128, they have Braylon Corley. That is going to be another really good match. That's Corley's the coach's son. Corley's been at St. James for a long time. And again, that's another one of them. I don't think it's a pin. I think it's a decision. And I'm leaning Corley, but now I could certainly see in that being a flip and going Ranburne's way. At 134, St. James has Luke Robbins. For Ranburne, their 134 they forfeited 134. So as of right now, we're going to say that's a forfeit win. At 140, Braden Driver. Again, look at this matchup right here at 140 if it turns out this way. Driver for Ranburne, Hartson from St. James. Hartson is a veteran, one of St. James' best wrestlers. Driver is a veteran, one of Ranburne's much better wrestlers. I think this is a decision match, and which way this leans, I don't know, because I could see Hartson getting the win, but I could certainly see Driver getting the win. I would probably slightly edge Hartson, but again, the difference here is pin points and decision points. A lot of St. James wins, I feel like, are decision wins, where Ranburne's wins are pins. At 146, St. James is really strong at 146 with Connor Johnston. They're really strong in the middle. For Ranburne, it's Jace Anderson. I would lean St. James right there. At 152, Ranburne forfeited. I don't know if they'd forfeit 152 this time, but if they do, then obviously Miles Zakowski would get points there. At 159, it's Emmett Rasmussen for St. James. For Ranburne at 159, it is Connor Champion. That one could go either way. I'm going to lean Champion. 167, I'm going Curtis Daniel. I don't need to see who St. James had. I feel good about Daniels at 67. They had Gavin Capiluto. Might have pronounced that name wrong. I apologize if I did. At 177, you have Pruitt Connor. That's one of St. James's better wrestlers, but that's also Zach Buchanan. I don't see Ranburne losing 177. 192, Carson Hollis for Ranburne. For St. James, 192 is Brooks Batchelor. I'm leaning Ranburne. 217, Cecil Edwards for St. James. For Ranburne, they've got Isaac Calvert, and who wrestled Will Johnson really good, 4-0 match. That one's a toss-up. 287, Zayden Benefield against Owen Penny of St. James. I'm going to lean Ranburne at 287, so I'm going to have to go with Zayden Benefield. I'm going to say that Ranburne beats St. James. My prediction is Ranburne versus Weaver in the championship, and so that is my prediction. But with that being said, let's now be joined by the head coach of the Ranburne Bulldogs, Coach Jason Meeder. And Coach, I slept on you against Oak Grove, and I slept on you against Cleveland County. Coach, I'm not sleeping on you this time. I'm going to go ahead and say y'all are going to beat St. James, but this is going to be tough. So why don't you just go ahead and give us your thoughts on St. James?
So St. James is interesting for us. My fifth year here. This will be the third time in the semifinal. And we've beat them twice, so hopefully third time's the charm. But Coach Corey's program, he's a very good friend of mine. We talk during the off season, cut up a good bit, bounce football ideas off of each other, and I think the world of him. Me and him have gotten really close over the years. It's going to be interesting. I've never underestimated St. James. Last year we wrestled St. James, it came down to the last match, and their kid threw a head and arm, which thank God was illegal. The kid did not have the arm. We got the point. We win. Corley called me later. He goes, I got to ask you, dog, was it illegal or not? Was it cleaned? So I had a really good picture. I zoomed in on it, screenshot it, sent it to him. He goes, man, that hurts. So I look forward definitely to wrestling St. James just because of the relationship I have with their coach. They're great kids. Always look forward to seeing them guys. I wish we was doing it here again, but we'll be in Birmingham doing it this time.
Coach, Ranburne's always been a stronger program in the state, but individually when it comes to Huntsville, Ranburne's never really cracked into the top, 3 or so typically. You guys are always good, and you're going to have, guys wrestling in the state championship. Buchanan, I'd feel really good about. But there's something about the duels, because you guys are one of the most experienced teams in terms of making deep runs in the duels tournament. And I think that's a testament to every guy, top to bottom, is someone that wrestles hard, that is going to be hard-nosed. You come right at people. That's what you guys do. What do you think really sets you guys apart when it comes this time of the year when it's the duels tournament? Because you guys you're right back where you typically are. That's wrestling in Birmingham.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just our mindset or what, but we kind of change our wrestling, it seems like, once we hit the new year. I don't know if it's our conditioning that takes over and really starts kicking in and helping us a lot or what. But these guys take a lot of pride in the fact that we don't bounce around. What you see is what you get. Mm-hmm. We're not dodging anybody. I'm not looking on paper and saying, well, your kid here is not that great, so I'm going to go here and try to get those extra points and stuff. Our kids really take a lot of pride in saying, here's our lineup, let's wrestle. And if you got to bounce everybody around and move people around to beat us, so be it. You're not going to do it in sectionals or state. This is who we are. This is what we got. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, what do you think? I'll just be honest with you, you're a good team. People knew you're a good team. There's not a question about that. I think you look at Cleveland County, who edged y'all out in that championship in the region duels. But then Oak Grove's probably one of the most improved teams in the state of Alabama this season. I mean, they're really good. And you went in there and not only beat Oak Grove, Coach, but you edged them out by 3. And then you get Cleveland County and you edged them out by 9. And so, they were close duels, but your team found a way to overcome that adversity and win both of those when a lot of people didn't think you would. So what do you think it was about your team that gave you, or what do you think is the reason why you guys went to Oak Grove and then knocked them off and beat Cleveland County to get to the semis?
Motivation. We were disappointed in the Cleveland Cup. We lost by 1 point. Regional duels, we're 7 matches to 7 matches. And I told my guys, I said, look, I'm challenging y'all. This comes down to points. And Cleveland County, they don't get pinned, so those points start adding up. I told them they're going to have to figure out something if they do get on their backs to find a way to fight through it and not get pinned, get us the points we need. And they stepped up and they believed in it. But I told them, I said, look, we're the underdogs. We're going into this. Nobody expects us to win. They expect us to lose to Oak Grove when we're done. But I talked to them about Muhammad Ali whenever he won the championship. I said, he talked a lot of smack. But whenever he won the championship, one of the things he said was, I shook up the world. I shook up the world. And what he was saying is nobody expected him to pull off that win that championship belt. So I kind of gave them the mentality is, let's go in there and shake up the world. Let's go in there and show them who we really are. Let's wrestle like we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, looking at St. James, obviously your focus is solely on them. But whether you win or lose, you're still going to wrestle again. So even if you fall short, you're going to turn around and wrestle for third, fourth. You win, you're going to wrestle for first and second. So I don't want you to necessarily look ahead, but I asked Fulmer the same question in the last segment. Looking at Weaver, looking at St. John Paul II, just kind of those two teams, what's your early thoughts on either one of them that you could wrestle for a championship or could wrestle for third or fourth?
So me and Fulmer are very good friends. Andy's a great guy. We've been close for a long time too. St. Paul, I don't know them that well just because they're from the Huntsville area. Their kids are always very respectful. Their coach is awesome. Great guy. Yeah. Either program is tough. There's no doubt. Weaver, presents a different beast to us. They just seem like they've just been running through everybody in every tournament we go to and everything. And St. Paul, I look at them and I'm kind of weird. I really don't go through and look at track wrestling and try to see what other teams have done and who did what where and what kid does this. I just say, let's just wrestle. We'll see how it goes. We know you're good if we've heard of your name. If we haven't heard of your name, you still could be good. So let's not underestimate anybody. Let's just go in there and take it, one match at a time and let our kids do what they're supposed to do on the mat, hopefully. But both for either one that we face, it's not going to be a cakewalk. They're there for a reason too. I respect both programs a lot. I wish the best for everybody. I hope we all come out healthy and make it to sectionals without any injuries and have a good showing at state as well.
Absolutely, Coach. Just looking down the stretch, looking at the Crossplex Friday, looking at the good competition you're going to get. Then once you get done with that, Coach, you're in the final stretch until sectionals, which is just a couple weeks away. And then, of course, it's state in Huntsville. Looking down the stretch, how do you get your team to take the way they've wrestled the past week, the way you want them to wrestle Friday? How do you get them to carry that into sectionals?
By not slacking up any. That's kind of been our mindset. I kind of, in my own opinion, I got a little bit more laid back than I used to be the past couple of years. So we had a big talk. I chewed them out pretty good after the Cleveland Cup. And I told him, I said, look, I know when I got back from Afghanistan, I was pretty hard-nosed and pretty strict, and I stayed on you all the time. But I also let y'all know that I loved y'all a lot. But my expectations are high. And I've kind of switched that gear back for myself and held them more accountable. And we're just going to grind hard and hard and hard and just keep at it. We're not easing up any. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't care that you're tired. I don't care that you're not feeling good today. Get over it. We got a job to do. Middle of February is the end of it. And then you can be whatever you need to be after that. Worry about, your feelings and worrying about being sick or, your thumb hurts, your toe hurts or whatever. But right now we got a job to do. So, soldier up. Let's get out there and do our job.
Absolutely. Keep an eye on the Ranburne Bulldogs this Friday at the Birmingham Crossplex. They go head-to-head with St. James for a third time in a row. As Coach said, they got the first two. Is the third time going to be the charm? That is to be determined. But you got to feel good when you got Zach Buchanan at 177, Carter Driver at 108. You've got other guys like Braden Driver, Johnny Mack English, and then Curtis Daniel. A lot of talent for the Ranburne Bulldogs. Will they win Friday? I don't know. We'll see. But I will be there to cover them in Weaver as well. Coach, I look forward to seeing you Friday at the Crossplex. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
All right, Namath. Hey, thanks a lot, man. It's always good talking to you.
You as well, bud. All right, Coach Jason Meeder of the Ranburne Bulldogs. And that does it for us today, folks. We will be back tomorrow with more Calhoun County basketball action. But other than that, I hope you all stay safe, stay warm. God bless. Thank you for watching The Locker Room, presented by Ted's Floors and Beyond.